Hey guys, what's up? Okay, so hold on. Okay, my family has left me. My mom went to a Christmas party for her job. Well, so did my sister and everyone else. I couldn't go because I didn't have a sitter. And my husband is still at work. He's normally at work very, very late when they're game days. So I'm sitting here, amazing. Well, not really say bored, but it just gives me time to do things that I want to do that I can't do, such as make videos. And Makai Jeremiah is sleeping. So, after doing my parenting tag video earlier today, and then also kind of being a little upset at the fact that I couldn't go to the party, it kind of brought about wanting to do a video. And it's just the truth about being a parent, and, not to say people, do videos and it's all like, peaches and cream and stuff like that, but, just having a keep it real moment about the frustrations of being a parent, and especially for me being a stay-at-home mom. It gets frustrating. I know that, like, I did my parenting video in, one of the questions as far as like crying it out and spanking and stuff like that. Being a parent, especially a stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home parent in general, like a stay-at-home parent, it gets frustrating. And you're always like, well, I took care of kids before. I'm going to be a great parent. Some of the things that you did not agree with that your parents did, you're like, I'm not going to do those things, and not kind of really understanding maybe some of the things that your parents did and why they did it. And even though, because you want to be so independent, you don't understand why, but then having your own, you kind of, understand certain things. And then, like, my mom is always saying to me, oh, no, you wanted a baby. Why? How can you get upset? Why are you getting so mad? Why are you frustrated? You wanted this. You wanted a baby. I mean, yes, of course, I wanted a child. I want more children. She's always telling me, oh, you need to have no more because you can't handle the one that you have. It's not that. It's like some people act as if you're not entitled to be frustrated. And one moment. Ugh. I don't know. It feels like my my phone is tilted, so I'm not sure if this is coming out like cockeyed. But people feel as if, you don't have a right to be frustrated or tired, as a parent. And I just think that is so crazy. There are days when, my son requires all of my attention. Sleep is good quality sleep sometimes is like a thing of the past. It's like, it's a blessing the days or the nights that I get, good rest, good sleep. Because his schedule is not my schedule, and I've learned to, not kind of go off mine. And some people say they'll try to put their child on the schedule, but, they're still, I see it as they are still a new little person every day learning something new about this world. They're learning. They did not have an instruction manual while they were in the belly to say, you're going to have to do this. You're going to have to do that. They're learning. There are certain things every day they're seeing that they did not see before, or they see it in a different, the older they get, they see it in a different way. They understand that, okay, something that was just there before, it now has a function. I want to try and, utilize that function or see what else it can do, or I want to do what mommy's doing. I want to do what daddy's doing. And I feel a lot of people get frustrated at that, but that's just a child being a child. And that's something that I really had to come to an understanding about. And then when I see how how other people interact with their child or their children, I'm always like, well, dang, why do they do that? But then sometimes I'm like, well, I may not do it to that extreme as far as being upset with my child, but I do get frustrated. But then I also have to realize that this is just a child. They didn't have an operation manual or instruction manual for how to be a child. They're learning every day. So as a parent, especially when they are younger, you have to kind of, cope with that and deal with that. And I know for me, I get frustrated. having a son is making me more patient, and it's like crazy because my husband was the more calmer or patient one, and even with him, he gets so mad and so frustrated. And I know for him, it's mainly because he works out, he works, of course, outside of the home. So dealing with work and wants to come home and relax and not realize, he has to understand that we no longer have that luxury to just relax when we want to relax. We have a child, he needs to be taken care of. It's frustrating to me to where you feel like some people, like in the parenting side, it was the cry it out method, or, just allowing your child to cry and whine. And some people's like, oh, they need something, they're not crying for any reason. They want to communicate. That's their way of communicating with you. My son knows a lot of words. My doctor always asks, oh, well, how many words he knows? And sometimes I'm looking at her like, look here, lady, I don't sit here and count. But actually, like after the last appointment, we actually did, and he knows about 60 words. And he will literally try to use every last one of them. He's not making a full sentence. He'll babble something, say a word that really makes sense to me, and I kind of pick up on it. But, crying is not always them wanting something. Because my son doesn't always cry when he has pee or poop on him. Like, I always thought people said that, and I'm like, my child never cried for that. Like, he peed, and it was like hell. It's like half the time I really would have to check because he didn't cry because he was wet or he pooped or something. Like, he'll sit there and play and poop, and I know because I smell it, but he's not crying and he's not whining about it. So people always say that. As far as being hungry, okay, sometimes as an infant, they do that, because they really he doesn't have any words. Now I'm glad that he can say eat, or when he wants something to drink, he'll say juice, although juice is for everything and it drives me nuts. So he can communicate now, but there are times when he just wants something that he can't have. And I'm not going to be that parent to just say, oh, you can have whatever you want. It's okay. No, you can't have it. And if you want to cry, you want to throw a tantrum, it's always so funny because sometimes he'll throw a tantrum in the store and I'll throw one right back. Sometimes I try and ignore it, and I will sit up here and let him cry until he either gets tired or realizes, okay, well, I'm going to move on to something else. But I really don't understand when people feel like letting your child cry is abuse or something like that. Like, oh, they need something, or they have, they need something. Sometimes it's just a want, and you can't give in to all of your child's wants. Because then they're going to grow up, running amok and thinking they can do whatever they want and get whatever they want. And that's not the case. It ain't going to happen, Captain. So, that's something that's frustrating to me is the crying and the whining. And it's like the whining for no reason. And it makes you want to, like, I would never do it. But, sometimes it's like it makes you want to pull out your hair. It makes you sometimes think about doing bad or violent things, or like spanking them or whipping them, or like just shoving them. Like, I'm being very honest. Sometimes I feel that way. I just want to be like, just shut up. Like, just shut the heck up. Like, and I try not to use that word because I don't want him to utilize that word as far as telling people to shut up, so I try and, be quiet, Micaiah Jeremiah, or, just other ways. But sometimes it gets so frustrating to where you just want to lock yourself in a room, lock them in a room. It's like, I don't even want to see you right now. And people need to understand it's okay to feel that way. Don't beat yourself up about feeling that way towards your child, because you get to a breaking point. You get to a boiling point. Everything with being a parent is not peaches and cream. Every child is not going to be the most well-behaved child. There are things that they're not intentionally misbehaving, but it's frustrating to you because you want them to think. I really think when a lot of parents get frustrated is because you want them to think like an adult. You want them to do the things that you do and behave the way you want them to behave, to have this picture perfect life, and they're not going to do that. And it gets frustrating. I don't ever want to be in a position to where I have to literally beat my child or whoop his behind. I know what that feels like. And the fact that I got whoopings until I don't know how old I was. I've gotten, beat with an extension cord. I would never abuse my child. I would never do that to him because, it's just not, effective to me. I just think a lot of times that, people do that just laziness and not wanting to deal with or talk to, or, like how some people always say they hate seeing people. They're still like, oh, don't do that, don't do this. And, they're just like, man, whoop that, But I think whooping or hitting them is the easy way out rather than trying to constantly talk to them. Some people just don't want to have to repeat themselves. But again, it's a child. They're learning. It's repetition. You're going to have to keep repeating it until they understand. I don't understand how people can say we're constantly repeating the ABCs or their numbers to get their child to understand it is okay, but don't want to take the time to discipline that child that way by saying, no, you can't touch that. It's like, it's a bad thing to just say, or it's bothersome to constantly tell your child no or don't do that. But they have to learn, and they're only going to learn by you constantly, warning them that they can't do that. It's not good for them. They can't have that. And eventually they will understand. Do I, hit Micaiah Jeremiah? Sometimes I do. If he's doing something that's just outrageous, or he's reaching for something and he's reaching for the plug, I will pop his hand. If he's going, he's reaching for something and I don't really know, but I'm not going to lie and say that I don't, but right now taking some or other disciplinary measures as far as like, other than just once saying no and all that stuff doesn't work, you can't take something away from an 18 or 19-month-old because he's not attached to anything like that. He doesn't have attachments. You can take this away. He's just going to find something else to play with. So I think, you have to choose different disciplinary measures for each, for each age. Once they have an understanding of certain things, then you can adjust that and take certain things away, and they comprehend, then you can take on certain measures. Hitting them it makes them for you. I've seen people pick up their shoe to the child, and that child screams and runs. You haven't even touched them, and they're so terrified. I never want him to be like that. And even now, I'm trying to really curb on doing that, and I'm trying to do other things, especially when he hits back. I know someone was saying that before. You don't understand how you can go and a child does something, you hit them, they hit you back, and you say, don't hit, but you hit them as you're saying that. And I kind of, understanding that, and it's like, okay, your child is saying, you're doing when I do something that you don't like, you hit me. So when you do something that I don't like, that child, or you do something that child doesn't like, they're going to in turn hit you as well. And Micaiah Jeremiah is doing that. He will hit, and we're trying to break him out of that. I don't want him to do that. But at the same time, a lot of parents, parent with the do as I say, not as I do. And I think that is right in certain situations, but it gets kind of hard, and it's always that's a very gray and fuzzy line. But I don't know. I mean, this is a kind of a rant video, but it's just wanting people to know that it's okay to be frustrated as a parent. It's gonna happen, and don't beat yourself up because you have thoughts of killing your child almost. Because, sometimes it will come because you're just frustrated. You're tired of them whining. You're tired of the same thing every day. You're tired of saying no. So don't beat yourself up when you get frustrated. It's going to come. It's a part of it. Not having any sleep, not being able to do the things that you used to do, not being able to go out. All those things with having a child, they're going to come and they're going to drive you nuts because you can't. Me and my husband have been wanting to go see a movie since before we had him. We have not been to a movie in, over 2 years. So the last movie we saw was Fast Five, as far as like physically going to the movie. So, there are certain things that you're going to have to give up for a while. And, once you made that decision to bring that baby into your home and have that baby, not give it for adoption, not have an abortion, if that was your choice, there are things that you have to deal with. And I think I may end up doing something else just to help to help people to understand that it's okay to be frustrated. There are people out there who are just like you. They are frustrated, and it's okay. Don't let people make you feel like you're a bad parent because you're frustrated. you know, with your child. You're not frustrated with being a parent. You love them to death. You know, you love them unconditionally, but it's frustrating and sometimes you just need a break. So that's my little rant for this video. And yeah, see you guys later. Peace.